Hey, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today, I decided to do a video playing with some new ink that I got. For Christmas, I was gifted a fountain pen, and I use it in my bullet journal practice and my mindfulness practice of journaling. I don't know if I'll stick with that part of my journaling, but absolutely with the bullet journal, it keeps my going around. Deep breath. Okay, so I was watching another YouTuber called Mark Your Pages, and he was reviewing inks, and he was using it in his fountain pens, and his fountain pen has a refillable well like mine did, and I was like, "Yes." Somewhere along the way, technically I knew that I could fill up my fountain pen with different colored ink, but it wasn't really like in my brain as like I can actually do that. So after watching one of his review videos, I hopped on Amazon and this stuff. I am not going to pretend that I know how to pronounce it, and please excuse me searching blindly for the camera uh, to get it close enough to do a zoom in on the ink. While I was testing it out on my paper, I noticed that one, my hands were stained from when I refilled my pen cartridge, and two, when I put water on the notebook paper and then wiped it off, it did not feather or smudge. And so I thought, hot dog, I can use this pen with watercolors. And just promptly went about doing a uh, spread with the fountain pen and the watercolor. Uh, okay, no, newsflash, spoiler. While the watercolor did a great job, if it just kissed up against the pen, going completely over top of the pen caused the pen to reactivate. You can see it in a couple different areas. The pen work isn't as crisp as it could be. Two places that really bothered me were the pink pearl eraser above the lipstick and the face of axolotl. Which is, okay. Um, I decided that I was going to do a limited color palette, and I decided to use my neon set of opera Paul Rubens, I think. You'll see it on the swatch when I pull it out to decide which color pinks I'm going to use to create my mixed limited color palette. And here I am going through my swatch stash. Yep, it's Paul Rubens Opera. They're neon set. They come in tubes. I put them into a little brand. A little tin that you don't see branding on. And I take the tubes and I fill the pans, and it works great for how I do my process. Um, I really love the idea of the limited color palette. I think that it is really kind of freeing, especially if you are in a headspace where you're like struggling of what am I going to do? I'm kind of feeling burnt out or uninspired. It's a real quick, easy way to get bold and visually striking images without using up a lot of that mental headspace. And I had a lot of fun doing it here. So in this painting, I am bothered by how the ink reactivated with the watercolor. So after this one, I take some of the same imagery and I draw it again, and I change out some of the imagery, and I decide that I'm going to do another red and pink illustration, and I decide to do it in alcohol markers. I've noticed with one of the pens that I've used with alcohol markers, it will reactivate with water-based media, but it will not reactivate with alcohol markers. And so I thought that this was a really great combination. And I actually like this one better. I think that the cool pinks that I picked with the alcohol markers actually really went well with this red, which even though it says that it's a sort of cool green, a purple red, it's definitely still on the warm side. And I think that that makes a nice juxtaposition. That's one of my favorite art words to make. There's a girl in one of my classes who liked words that began with the letter J. I think that she just enjoyed the way they sounded. And so in our major, it got to be kind of a joke. And we throw it around as when we were being silly. And so even to this day, all the many years later, every time I say juxtaposition, it kind of makes me laugh and smile. And here we go. You will see me using a different nib in this, and it wasn't actually cleaned out all the way. Lesson learned that just soaking a nib until the water is clear doesn't actually soak out or clean out the working bits. And so on this illustration, when I changed to an extra fine nib from a 1.0 nib, the extra fine nib still had some black in it, and I had to actually run through ink to flush it out. I'm sure the internet, if I do a little bit more research, can tell me how to prevent that happening in the future, but now I know, as my ink collection grows and I swap out inks, that I can prevent things from like this from happening in the future. But good news is I don't think that it really damaged the integrity of this piece. And I still like it. I like the second version of the illustration better than the first. I think because of the thinner line work, and even though it's black, it doesn't bother me. And I think is all I have for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Till next time, like, subscribe, and have fun playing